History buffs, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into one of the most influential periods in European history. The Napoleonic Wars will explore the rise of Napoleon Bonaparte, the battles that shaped Europe, and the lasting impact of these wars. So, grab a seat and let's get started. Our story begins with the French Revolution in 1789. The monarchy was overthrown, leading to a decade of political turmoil, violence, and constant changes in leadership. In the midst of this, a young Corsican officer named Napoleon Bonaparte began making a name for himself. His strategic brilliance on the battlefield caught the attention of French leaders. In 1796, Napoleon led a successful campaign in Italy, proving his military prowess. By 1799, he staged a coup, taking control of France as first consul. Just 5 years later, he crowned himself Emperor of the French. But Napoleon's ambition didn't stop at France's borders. He sought to create a European empire, challenging the old monarchies and threatening the established order. In 1803, Britain declared war on France, concerned about Napoleon's expansion. Soon, other European powers, including Austria and Russia, formed a coalition to stop him. In 1805, the British Navy, led by Admiral Horatio Nelson, won a decisive victory against the French and Spanish fleets at the Battle of Trafalgar. This battle ended any hope Napoleon had of invading Britain. Yet, on land, Napoleon was unstoppable. In December 1805, he defeated the combined Austrian and Russian armies at the Battle of Austerlitz. This victory, known as the Battle of the Three Emperors, forced Austria to make peace, establishing Napoleon as the dominant force on the continent. Unable to defeat Britain militarily, Napoleon attempted economic warfare. He created the Continental System, banning European countries from trading with Britain. However, the Continental System had mixed results. While it hurt British trade, it also caused economic problems for many European allies and ultimately failed to break Britain's power. Meanwhile, Napoleon was spreading his empire, placing his family on thrones across Europe. In 1808, he invaded Spain and installed his brother Joseph as king, sparking the Peninsular War. The Spanish and Portuguese people, with support from Britain, fiercely resisted Napoleon's rule. The conflict turned into a brutal guerrilla war that drained French resources and forced Napoleon to keep a large part of his army tied up in Spain.
Napoleon's ambition led him to one of his greatest blunders, the invasion of Russia in 1812. Napoleon's army marched into Russia, reaching Moscow, only to find the city abandoned and burning. With winter setting in and his troops lacking supplies, he had no choice but to retreat. Out of the 600,000 soldiers who entered Russia, only a fraction made it back. The Russian winter, combined with Russian guerrilla attacks, decimated Napoleon's Grande Army. After the disastrous Russian campaign, Europe saw a chance to strike back. The Sixth Coalition, including Russia, Prussia, Austria, and Sweden, united against Napoleon. In October 1813, Napoleon suffered a major defeat at the Battle of Leipzig, also known as the Battle of Nations. Outnumbered and worn out, his forces were pushed back to France. In 1814, coalition forces invaded France, and Napoleon was forced to abdicate. He was exiled to the island of Elba in the Mediterranean. But Napoleon wasn't done yet. In March 1815, he escaped Elba and returned to France, rallying support and reclaiming his throne in what became known as the 100 Days. His final stand came at the Battle of Waterloo in June 1815. Facing British and Prussian forces, Napoleon was ultimately defeated. After this, he was exiled again, this time to the remote island of St. Helena, where he died 6 years later. The Napoleonic Wars reshaped Europe. The Congress of Vienna in 1815 redrew the continent's borders, establishing a balance of power that lasted nearly a century. Napoleon's campaign spread revolutionary ideas of equality, nationalism, and legal reform across Europe. His influence on modern warfare, civil law, and European identity is still felt today. So, what do you think? Was Napoleon a hero who spread revolutionary ideals, or a tyrant who caused endless suffering? Let us know in the comments.